this morning, didn't it?
It worked brilliantly. It's a nice chat as well. And as I spoke with Alex this morning, I thought we should actually just say good afternoon to everyone that is joining already, because pretending that nothing's going on is quite funny. And I'm not being funny, I'm just saying, guys, for you of you watching already, good afternoon. It's time to go soon. Leopard.
Leopard.
Yes. In case you're wondering what I'm thinking about or what we're going to look for.
It's just, I think he's still in there.
I think just there where we left him, just off that side, and we're going to pick him up just where coming over into the full signal range.
I'll take him into the rock. Okay, you want me to open? You want to open?
Ching chung chai for it. You open it.
Okay.
You know my culture of works.
Age before beauty. Good afternoon everyone, and welcome to WildSafari Live from the beautiful Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves here in Sabi Sand, South Africa. My name's Hayden Turner.
Good afternoon everyone, my name's Pieter Pretorius, and it is the perfect afternoon for a game drive like this. So if we could have planned it, mail ordered it and sort of, booked it, we couldn't have planned it better.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely fantastic. Temperature's quite nice. It's about 29 I think, or 28 degrees. I just have to double check on that Fahrenheit. I did get it before, but I've forgotten already.
29.
29.
Yeah.
Okay, degrees Celsius. 32 degrees. Yeah.
Perfect.
32 degrees Celsius and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So it gives you a rough idea of the temperature, but the cloud cover has given us a little bit of it feels a bit cooler. Anyway, so it could be good for us. It could be a situation where we see cats a little bit earlier if we're lucky. Now, obviously this is Pete and my last drive together today.
This time, very important.
This
I keep
time,
reminding everyone.
Absolutely. So we've got one thing on our mind. Pete, do you want to tell everyone?
Yes. Leopard, obviously.
Guys,
I want to tell you a quick story before we get going, because we are going to get going just now. But we were on our way back to camp early and it started raining, and we ended up coming back here. So H and myself have been here the whole day. But on the way back, we stopped at one of the lodges with friends of mine for coffee. We got very, very fresh leopard tracks, to the point where it was over our tracks. You call that registering. When one track is on top of another one, the track registers. So we had leopard track that registered on top of ours after the first rains, that second rain after that. So we've got very fresh tracks. Was heading this way. I think it's a young male, not sure, it was a bit wet, the tracks, but so definitely leopards on our minds, and a very, very real possibility, like there always is. I mean, leopard, you never know where they are. They could be there any minute. But leopard obviously a big part, but most importantly, just to have a nice drive. We're going to leave this area. This is one of the most beautiful, amazing wildlife destinations in the world, and we have gotten to spend an amazing time here. So thank you to all the powers that be.
Everyone.
Djuma Game Reserve, Arathusa, and of course, Will back in control, Graham and Emily, Peter, Brian, VM, and everyone else.
Absolutely. And Pete's right, there's a massive team behind this, and we'll probably get through saying thank you to everyone later on. We are going to continue on the internet after we broadcast here on NatGeo Wild as well, with our campfire chat, so that'll be a really nice thing to finish on. But what an incredible time it's been, and we'll probably recap over some of those stories today. If you've got any questions for us, please send us questions@wildearth.tv, or you can tweet us at #SafariLive, and we'll try and get to as many of those as we possibly can. It's a really special day for us. It's been an incredible time, but I don't think we should waste any more time sitting here when we've got leopard to find, and loads of other things as well, mate. So I'm going to head that direction. You're going to head this direction.
I'm going to head that direction somewhere.
And Brian, VM, eyes in the sky. Let's do our best, see how we get
Guys,
going.
most importantly, before you go, let's have some fun now, because this is why we're here.
Absolutely.
Let's enjoy it, and let's enjoy what this is about.
Great to have you with us, guys. We'll see you just now, and I'll come back to you as soon as we've found something. Have a good one, bud.
See you in a bit.
Take care.
Have fun. All right. I just look at that view. I mean, HC's driving through there, but it's such a beautiful afternoon. Perfect postcard clouds, blue skies. Just look at that. Could you ask for anything more than that to spend your time in? We had quite a bit of rain this morning, and obviously everyone is hoping it would stop. It is cleared. I've spoken to a lot of my Shangaan friends here, guys that have lived here their whole lives, and I've not spoken to one of them that didn't say the same thing. They all said it's finished for the day, it shouldn't rain again this afternoon, maybe tonight. You can never know, because weather is the weather. But luckily we humans are waterproof. So if it rains, we'll be fine. It's going to be lots of fun. Guys, it's sorry. I actually just want to talk about this again. We're looking at that view just now. It was just spectacular, and this is one of my favorite views here in Juma. We're looking all the way. If you look that direction, that whole skyline that we're looking at, that's basically east, well, from northeast all the way to southeast, and that's down towards, or across towards Kruger National Park. And basically, how shall we say, the giant spot, or the lion's share, if you want, of this beautiful reserve, of which we are sitting off to the western edge. It's such a pleasure to be in such a beautiful, spectacular wildlife area. I mean, obviously we're looking around a specific area of it, or a smaller part of it, but we're part of an ecosystem that's 6 million plus acres. It's the size of New Jersey, if I remember correctly. And that alone is something quite spectacular. But we still have places like that left to explore and enjoy. And then, of course, the small things in that. We can start down here towards the waterhole a bit. We've had this beautiful elephant bull. It's been a couple of days now that we've spent time with him. In fact, our sunset safari last night, or yesterday, we ended with him, and he's had this name that sort of came in from everyone on the drive with us, of Madiba. And we'd love to see him again. Just a great elephant bull, nice and relaxed, and quite curious as well. He's sort of come to have a look at us every time we spend time with him. See if he's around. And the rest will just happen the way it does. That's the beauty of this. And this may be your first drive. It's Sunday today. I know Sunday is a day that families like to be together. Guys, for those of you with families, I hope you have a lovely time in the safari this afternoon. For those of you maybe joining, things about a game drive. It's also great just to sit back and relax, enjoy the views. It's great to chat to your friends, those of you that have got friends with you. And it's great to have old friends on the vehicle. For those of you that are new, big welcome. For those of you that have been with us for a long time, as always, a pleasure to have you with us. I'm going to show you something small, because sometimes it's good to look at small things before you look at the big things. So I'm going to try and get you a view of that one. It's a bit of a tricky one. And we've had quite a few jokes and laughs about this, but this is really my favorite flower. I used to give it to Lishan all the time. And there's just one. There it is. Yeah. Sorry for that little glitch there. Keep in mind, as I said, we are live. And we are in the middle of the bush. And for us to bring you from all corners of the world to come and join us on safari is not the simplest thing always. So it might be a few little crackles and pops now and again, but it's part of the ride. This is flower. It's called a red star zinnia. And it's actually a flower that came to Africa about 100 and something years ago, a little bit over 100 years ago, with the Anglo-Boer War. And it came in the horse fodder that was brought mainly from Argentina to Africa. And like other plants, the blackjacks, and you get various plants that came in that way. This flower has stayed. It's not become a weed as such. You only get it in certain places. It grows under trees quite often. And it's just one of my favorite flowers. It's bright red. It pops out. In the last few days, we suddenly started seeing them. And as the saying goes, it's important sometimes to stop. And if not smell, look at the flowers. Just look at that sky. Beautiful, dramatic. Can't ask for a better backdrop. Brilliant sunlight coming in. It's like someone has just lit this up just now. It's perfect balance of drama and light. Now I'm going to start just with a fun drive. We've got this little track really that goes through the back drainage line. It's absolutely beautiful, big trees in the riverbed. It is stunning, and I'm going to show you that. But first, let's show you, you might recognize for those of you from North America, we've got a very similar bird. Oh, it's going to fly, is it not? That's always a tricky thing with birds, is they have the benefit of flying, of course. So they sometimes fly away. And this is a young bird. It's not an adult yet. Now, a few of you might be able to guess just by looking at it. Look at the beak shape, the white chest. It's a bit against the backlight, so it's got a brownish body, and it is speckled because it's a juvenile, it's not an adult. This is a fish eagle. Very similar looking to the bald eagle that you get in North America. And a very well-known call. It's one of those calls like a lion's roar, like a hippo calling. It's one of those calls that you often hear when you look at things from Africa, or if you've ever been to Africa around the river areas, you often hear it. I can't mimic it very well, but it's something like this. Maybe later we hear it. It's one of those calls that always makes you know you're in Africa. All right, let's go look around. I saw the adult here the other day. It's the first time I've seen the juvenile actually. Good to know they're breeding. And fish eagle, like the name suggests, they do catch a lot of fish, but not only fish, they can catch other things as well. Smaller, birds and small mammals and things like that. So looking around for whatever. This area that we're driving into now, it's there's a couple of nyala actually. Ooh, it's quite nice. One is posturing. Let's go a bird forward. That's a big mature male, and you can see he's got that crest at the moment on his back standing up. There they go. That's a female and a young male. The male that's just moved in behind the bush there. And nyalas are antelope that like this kind of habitat. They like these thickets. They like these drainage lines, what we call them. Drainage lines are basically like little riverbeds that would have water in them during the rain season, or after big rains they'll sort of flood for a couple of hours. The rest of the time they're dry, mostly sandy and quite wooded, lots of big trees and shrubbery and sort of thick habitat. Great for antelope like nyala, kudu, bushbuck. Also one of the great areas to find and see leopard in. Leopard love that kind of habitat. In fact, it's only about 20 meters, 20 or so yards from those nyalas. As we're going out there, you'll see that big tree that comes out on the left-hand side. That big one, that area there, that we had an amazing leopard in about a couple of weeks ago. Kunyuma. In fact, he's one of the leopards that we hope to maybe see today. I don't think I'll ever drive this track again without thinking back to that day. And beautiful view we had when we climbed up to Brian, remember, with the skyline behind. Stunning. Stunning, stunning. And just the last of the evening sky behind the leopard, he was silhouetted against it. It really was striking. Okay, just hold on a little bit. We're just going to dip down into the drainage line here. Very important when you drive like this to not only look very carefully, obviously that's very important, but all your senses should be alive. You should be listening as well. Often you can find things listening and smelling. I could smell some fresh elephant dung back there, for instance. So there have been ellies around here sometime today. So let's see what we can find. bush. It snuck up on me there. I just love this. Very few things in the world that I can think of that I'd rather do than this. Lots of other things I'd love to do, obviously. Very few things that can beat this. Hold on a bit. Same place. We'll try another time to go down there. Just hold on a bit, it's going through a little dip. One. We were just talking about this now, but driving like this is one of the funnest things you can do, and especially driving such a beautiful area like this. I mean, just this lovely little riverbed. The possibility to find something at any second. I mean, these beautiful big trees up ahead. I have actually seen leopard in those trees in the past. Such a privilege to be able to do this. To see places like this, look around them. How lovely that is, just looking down this. This is basically, let me just get the car level there for you. When we talk about a drainage line, this is exactly what we're talking about. Just look at that lovely riverbed. Now in big floods, when it's raining really hard after big storms, this will all be water. Sort of the floor that you can see there. You can see how the banks have been carved out by it. And then because of all that water, obviously you get these beautiful trees. I mean, just look at us, this canopy above us here. These are called jackalberry trees. Beautiful, stunning trees. They're sometimes referred to as ebonies as well. And jackalberries have got little berries on them that lots of animals eat, not just jackals, but obviously jackals as well. Kudu, impala, nyala, there's antelope we saw earlier, monkeys, baboons, squirrels, all kinds of things that eat from them when they have the berries on them. Also a tree that you sometimes find the leopard on, or in, relaxing on one of the branches. So that's a drainage line. When we speak about this during the course of the afternoon, this is the kind of area we're talking about. Okay, hold on, I'm just going to climb out of this. Alrighty. going to check one more area. There's a little sort of more like a wallowing hole. In other words, a place where animals like buffalo, warthog and so on can come and wallow in. Just want to check if there's maybe anything around. A couple of nice big jackalberry and some booty trees here as well, just worth our while to check them. We're going to head back to one of the bigger tracks. So this is the kind of place that, yes, animals can drink here, but it's not really great for drinking. But it is really great for animals coming to just get rid of some of the heat, come and roll in the mud, splash around, roll around. Also, obviously, very good for getting rid of parasites. So for things like buffalo and rhino and so on, if they come and roll in this, that mud sticks to them, they can go and rub it off against the tree trunk later on. And in that process, they can get themselves a bit cleaner. It's a special way to clean yourself with dirty mud. But it works. Expecting. I don't always have time to explain what's going on. We are on the radio, obviously to control with Will and them, helping us with everything going on the drive, and they're also making sure everything that goes to you is good. And but also we talk to the game drive vehicles. There's a number of vehicles out here doing exactly what we are doing, except they've only got 5 or 6 or 7 people on the back. And we talk to each other. It's a great network of eyes and ears. Some of them are people that have places here. And also some of them would be guides that have worked here, some of them for 10, 20, 30 years. So all experts of the area that know the area, the wildlife very well. And we're all working together to find what we can, just as we're all working together to make sure that you have a brilliant safari with us. So as I said earlier, there will be a few technical issues now and again. We can apologize for that, but you know what? I've learned over time it's not necessary to apologize, because we're doing everything we can. And this is a brand new experience, I'm sure, for most or many of you. And it's no mean feat to bring people from all over the world to come on a safari. So I'm sure for most or many of you. And it's no mean feat to bring people from all over the world to come on a safari all at the same time. So now and again things will pop and break up a little bit. It's going to happen, trust me. Somewhere this afternoon there's going to be something really crazy going on, and we're going to be loving it, and it's going to be great, and it's going to break up. But you're going to stay with us, and we're going to keep you here. That's what we do. So let's continue on, see what else we can find. HT is also looking around. This is from elephants. They've pushed the tree over the road, so we're just going to take a little detour. HT is also looking around. I know that's not going to work. Let's go around the left-hand side. This is probably Madiba, or one of the other bulls. He's got about 2 or 3 bulls hanging around with him at the moment. Still like to find him as well. We all love elephants. I literally actually love elephants. They're just such amazing animals and such intuitive creatures. It would be nice to see one or more of them as well today. And all the time, whenever you see me peeking over finding game, especially since today's conditions are very good for that. We had rain this morning. The last rain was at
So just been cruising around some of my favourite areas just to see what's out and what's happening and see if there's any tracks on the road. We did get quite a heavy shower earlier today. If you were with us this morning online, we had to run for cover. Pete did about an hour from undercover, and I was actually caught out at one of the gates near the edge of the reserve. I had to go undercover there. But one of the great things that rain does is not only makes the place look beautiful, and definitely is much needed, and it's on its way. This is the time of the year, but it also obliterates, or it gets rid of all the old tracks on the road. of animals. So everything that we see now, we are pretty confident, well, really confident that they're after this morning. So that's what we're looking out for. And I'm just also looking out for everything else. It's beautiful, zebra, giraffe, anything that we come across. A little bit warm, as I said, 32 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So we just go to the water holes and just check the water holes as well. But just drive around and have a really good look today, and putting all our energy out to those cats. So great to have you with us. Really special afternoon. And what a ride it's been, eh? What a ride. So I was just turning the other radio down. From the day that we arrived on the 1st of November, when I got in this vehicle, never in my wildest dreams did I think what I was going to see, I've seen. It was incredible, and it has been super. And today's going to be one of those days where we really have the luck of the porcupine quill with us. Really enjoyed the drive this morning. Pete and I asked Scott and Mark if it was all right if we did the morning drives. We did a whole full day on our last day. It's quite beautiful about seeing the morning happen and then coming out and knowing what's gone on throughout that time. Finding that leopard tracking, or doing that leopard tracking together at lunchtime, was really quite exciting, and knowing that we've got something possible. It's got another vehicle coming our way. And it just happens to be our team. Hey guys. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
All right. Scott, Mark, I haven't met you, sir. Nadav, how are you, mate? Nice to meet you.
Good, and you?
Any news, guys?
Yes, I think what you saw was that cat came down where tele access,
Okay.
and it was touching the edge of the road almost as though it was leaving the road, pointing in, because it was at every quarry, so it was spraying at those quarries. But
Yep.
the one that you saw, because we did a couple of loops, Aubrey's up to Buffalo Cut Down, and we did a couple of loops around there, even down Gallagher Shortcut. There's nothing going more to the east. So
Okay.
that cat was on the far south. We picked up tracks just north of Impala Plains.
Okay.
I've just done a whole run up and down Triple M boundary. I can't see him coming out onto Triple M.
Okay, great.
I don't know, I think it's a young female maybe.
Okay.
It's a very small cat.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's still on the reserve,
Yes.
which is a exciting thing.
There is a nice big bull coming out onto Zoe's Road. Early bull.
Okay.
I'm going to do Rachel's. I'm going to break it
Okay.
and go back up towards Impala Plains, go back to the original, the last track that we found.
All right.
Good luck, HT.
Thanks,
Follow
guys.
it, it's
Thanks so
very
much for
tough hours.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Bye.
See you
Hello,
now.
everyone.
Thanks, guys. So it's really important to have as many eyes on the ground, and just bumping into Scott and Mark and the Dove really just sort of puts pieces in the puzzle together, and everyone with their knowledge and their skills helps us try and get some pictures to you of these magnificent cats. Why we are so obsessed with leopards, I don't know, I really don't know, but when you're in the presence of a leopard, the pictures speak, and that probably is enough explanation for how the magic exudes from those cats. The look of a leopard, the look of its eyes, and when it looks at you, there's something very, very unique about that cat. So you can sort of see or hear why we're so obsessed. Everything else in the bush is magical as well. You know that. You know from Pete and I and Scott and Mark and everyone else that you've probably ever talked to about the bush and yourselves. You get loads of different animals in your life that you find fascinating for one reason or another. But there's something about that leopard, hard to put into words. I think the thing about going on drive, and I talk about it a lot, and I just want to sort of bring a few things up that we've talked about over the last week particularly, but over the last month as well. And it's that anticipation. It's that anticipation that you know that something could be around that next corner. You just never know what's around the next corner. And I love that. I love turning a corner like this and just not knowing where, why, or what's going to be there. And you can do the same loop many a time. Isn't that a beautiful view across there? That's magic. See way off in the distance there. And expect the unexpected. That's what's lovely about it. There's no script. It happens as it happens. This is live. We don't know. We can just use a little bit of intuition, but we don't know. And that's beautiful. Something very special about not knowing what life is going to give you next, what card is going to be dealt from Mother Nature in front of you. And that's what I love. Around that next corner. It could be something as small as a dung beetle working really hard to go and lay its egg in a ball of dung, up to an elephant, to a leopard, to a giraffe, to a beautiful bird, anything. That nature is actually setting that script or playing that script out perfectly. It's a nice feeling, folks. And you're with us live. I'd like to see elephant today as well, if I can. I love elephant, and I know a lot of people out there do as well. Why are we so connected to elephants? I'm not sure, but there's something very special. I have my own theory, which if we see one, I'll probably share with you again, which I have a tendency to do. But what's so special? It's a little bit about being in their presence, that's for sure, and allowing them allowing us to be in their presence. The temperature's really pleasant. It doesn't feel like 32 to me. That little bit of cloud cover, it's cooling down definitely. Got some wildebeest up here, some impala coming through. Lovely herd of impala through here. Some lovely little calves up there with the mothers, wildebeest calves running through. I'll just roll down a bit for you, Vim. It's not a, might have to squeeze through there. These calves were born only about 2 weeks ago, up to a week to 2 weeks ago maximum, and it's been quite an incredible experience to witness some of those births live. We've got a question coming through, folks, so let me just hear what that is. Control. Got a lovely question from Maurice on Twitter about why elephants come into must, or what that is. Must, M-U-S-T-H, and you say it exactly like that. Must. You say the th at the end of it. Must, and it's a bit of externally. There's a secretion that comes from a little gland behind the eye, and it happens when the elephant, the male elephant, is sexually active. You can smell it sometimes. It's that strong. It definitely is a hormonal time for the elephant. There's lots of chemicals or hormones are flowing around in the elephant's body, which makes it sexually active. It will go seeking females potentially in season at that time, and it's definitely a time for us to take heed of that warning. So we just be a little bit more careful with those boys, because they have a tendency to be a little less tolerant of us. They're highly strung, and we make sure that we do give them a little bit of a wide berth. But they come into must all different times. They actually can come into short must, half must. They don't sometimes come into it as full on as some other elephants, and it depends on their age and their sexual activity. If they're a bull in their prime, or if they're a bit past that. It just depends on many different factors, but you definitely know when they do by that secretion, or that gland that is secreting that wet sort of dripping down the side of their face. It's a great indicator for us too. It's a warning sign just to watch it. And if we find one, Maurice, I'll definitely point it out, and we'll talk more about that. And we just want to stop here just to have a look at these little. A great question, Maurice, but have a look at these little guys here. A little creche. A young impala, only about 2 weeks old as well. Beautiful. There is a lot of them there, and they are really gaining strength now, putting on size. Their mothers are eating this really nutritious grass, and they're benefiting from it hugely. Those little tail wags, those little contact tail wags, and they really are putting on some size. A lot of annoying little flies there by the sound, looks of things as well. They are a magnificent antelope, aren't they? They're coming right across the road in front of us at the moment too. How beautiful are they? Got a couple of young boys. They're not as used to the vehicles as the adults are. The adults don't even flinch when we do that, start the vehicle, and the youngsters, they get used to it after a while. This is impala heaven just here. There's loads of them down to the right, really chowing down on this beautiful green flush of grass. There's rams and ewes. The females don't have horns, the males do. There's a couple of young sort of sub-adult males as well, with only that sort of half-curled horn, and then you get that beautiful lyre shape on the adult males, which they're quite famous for. And they will use those horns fiercely, battling each other when they go into rut to cover a herd of females and protect that group of females from any other males. You get a lot of these youngsters, these sub-adults, that start to use their horns and do a little bit of a spar. We've got a couple just here. I'm just going to move up a little bit behind this tree, Liam. You've got these couple of boys just here. No, I think they're finished. There's nothing really in it. They normally just have a little bit of a bump of heads, and that's about it really. But as I always stop at impala, and I just always like to remind people that just because they're Their numbers are huge. Probably one of the most successful antelope in Africa. You can't drive past. You've got to stop and give them the acknowledgement that they deserve. They're a beautiful antelope, often described as the perfect antelope, with their skills, with their speed and their jumping ability and their adaptive behaviour. They browse, they graze, they can withstand very, very tough times, and they can even prolong their pregnancy for a few weeks if times aren't right and the rains haven't come and there isn't enough grass or food availability. They're quite an extraordinary antelope. I think, let's just have a look at these little, there's so many up here to the left here, VM. It's just a lovely shot in that grass up there, these youngsters all moving through with the mothers, and there's probably 100 impala here at the moment around us. It does look quite idyllic, doesn't it? Impala heaven there, just beautiful green grass, everyone moving through, grazing. Just in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen there, that's a young male, hasn't got the full lyre-shaped horns yet. One of nature's finest antelope. Okay folks, well we're just going to keep having a bit of a look around here. I'm going to cross over to Pete. I think he's got a little bit of a surprise there for us. We'll see you just now.
Guys, welcome back. Shared a lovely time with HT on the vehicle as well. And we just found some elephants not too far from Treehouse Dam. We're slowly making our way in. It's a breeding herd first of all, which is great. You know, that means there's youngsters and things around as well. They're quite spread out. And with breeding herds especially, even more so than with bulls, you have to sort of ease your way in a little bit. I can see quite a few there. It looks like well, at least 10, maybe more, 15 of them. And what I mean with ease your way in is just to let them get used to you a little bit. They're not too worried. They're aware of us. Here's a little baby. That's maybe the closest one for now. But breeding herds can be a little bit more sensitive, obviously because they have young ones with them. Now these elephants know vehicles. I mean, the same as the other wildlife in this area. They are used to vehicles. But breeding herds also cover quite large areas. So there might be a herd that hasn't seen vehicles for a few days or a week or two. Whoa, there's a big bull with them as well. I just see in the back there. We'll try and have a look at him. So you always try and just sort of ease in a little bit. Just let them get used to you, let them get used to the vehicle, let them get used to the idea that you're not here to bother them or bug them or annoy them. And then once they get relaxed with you, once they get sort of comfortable with your presence, then you can get amazing things. I don't know this herd at all. This is not a herd that we saw a herd about a week ago, 5-6 days ago. I think this is a different group, and in fact maybe more than 15. I'm just starting to see now. It looks like there's quite a few around. So we're going to ease our way in. It's quite thick habitat. So we're going to just move along with them, see what they're up to. So a very big bull there. We're going to try and see him as well. Pretty much just sort of slowly incorporate ourselves into the herd. That's basically the plan. The habitat plays along. Here's another one. This is sort of a teenager. I can see further back one or two more. Teenagers can be a little bit more unsure of themselves sometimes. There's the typical head shake, sort of greeting. You know, what are you up to? What are you doing? Now when we spotted them at first, it wasn't that far from Treehouse Dam, so we thought they'd probably finished drinking. Brian was saying, yeah, he thinks they probably finished drinking. But I think that was one, I don't know if it's maybe two groups, because I've got a feeling this other group might be heading down there again, so we'll see what they get up to. But basically, they will be busy with something. Elephants spend a large part of their day, 18, 20 hours a day, sort of feeding, drinking, moving along, things like that. They don't sleep like us humans for long periods of time. Come on. This is the Jigga. It's a vehicle with personality, so sometimes she makes a bit of noise when you have to start her up. A little bit sort of messy scrub here, but we'll get through it. Might be a bit noisy. Amazing dead tree. So I've been going on this afternoon about the sky. Spectacular African summer sky. Sorry guys, just a bit of... Okay, you right, Brian? Cool. Hey man, this is thick stuff. Squeeze our way in there. Those are black monkey oranges, that next shrubbery, and they extremely noisy things to drive through. So since there's a young elephant, I want to try and avoid them. So I'm going to try and climb over this log, so it might be a little bit bumpy. I'll just check from the outside, is it right?
I can't see. You're going to probably...
Get over there. Get that right. Let's get the approach angle correct. Sorry guys, let's just sit here for a bit having a look at us. Yes, hello, good afternoon. This is one of the females, not the matriarch, but one of the bigger females in the group. I must say, more and more it's feeling to me like it might be two groups. With elephants you often get different herds that will join up together, often related to each other even. If you backtrack it, they were bigger herds at some stage and then split up, then quite often spend time together. And this is great, they're coming to us. This is the female, obviously. That would most likely be her calf behind her. Still suckling, which is interesting. There's another little baby as well coming at the back. So this is beautiful. We're just going to sit here for now. Perfect. They've been at the water this lot. You can see there on the back. You can see the mud there. So they had a bit of a mud bath earlier to cool themselves down. Two females, the second one coming through there now also has a tiny, well not a tiny, but a young calf, less than a year old. That one there. Another young calf further back, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we've probably got, at least what I've seen so far, 25 plus elephant here, maybe more. I can't see the front end of this group. Very sharp tusks, this female. The females obviously don't have tusks as big as the males. The big males get much thicker, much heavier tusks. The males also use their tusks for fighting with each other, so a male with big tusks would have an advantage in terms of, you know, mating opportunities. Whereas your females just use the tusks more to, you know, break twigs with and strip bark and dig things out. You know, it's great working tools for them. There we go, a little head shake from the youngster. And this is exactly what we wanted. We've sort of made our way slowly into the group to the point where they're now not that bothered by us. They walk really close past us. The little one was also there, not too close to mum, so it shows that mum's nice and relaxed. And I think we'll certainly spend some time with this herd now. But I think we need to find another way around this area that we're in. Let's just move a little bit. See the high air there? That's okay. It's very interesting. Elephants respond often to the noise of a vehicle. So when you sit with elephants, generally speaking, it's good to switch the vehicle off. She's not that worried. She was just saying, what are we doing now? They just walked close past us. She saw that we weren't bothering them. And then I started the engine to move, and she was a little bit like, what's up? But not worried. You can see that she's still eating. Great time of year now for elephants after the winter. There's lots of fresh food, green grass, new leaves, new twigs, lots of great food for them. Especially for those mothers with babies, they can really be in great condition now for the youngsters. Again, we can see this area very green and short greenery. And that's because this area burned not that long ago, even a few months ago. So everything that you see on the ground here, all the lower shrubbery and obviously the grasses, it's all new growth. So great food for them. No dead grass and things to worry about. Whatever they eat is good food. It's so dexterous. I love the way they can use their trunks, as you were seeing there just now. Now that it's a dead bush now from the fire, but that would have prevented some of the other antelopes and smaller animals eating around it, those sticks. And that's why she's pushing it aside to get to the, the good bits, the good food. Grass is a bit longer there. Further away from the bushes, you can see impalas and zebra and wildebeest and things have been eating. So grass is much shorter. So they go in under these bushes. You'll sometimes find them even moving entire, dead trees that have been pushed over in the past. They'll move the entire bush to get to that new growth underneath. We've got one that, let's see what this one does. There's a youngster here just coming up on our right, but I'll keep an eye on it. Might actually give us a little bit of interaction, just sort of ask us what we're doing. There we come, he's coming around, look at that. Hello, good afternoon, yes. You can see it, the ears nice and open to make himself look bigger. Looks like a young bull, yeah, young bull, he'd be about 10 years old or something like that. Very good condition, this female. And also look at her between the front legs. Very interesting. Elephants, their mammary glands are between the front legs. And that's not something a lot of people know. And you'll see, we saw it briefly earlier, the calf suckling there. Very different from many or most of your other mammals. But elephants, if you just put yourself in the right place and take it nice and quiet, switch the vehicle off, speak with a calm tone. Mother, and it's a young bull, so you'd be a bit bigger already than a female, but difficult to say exactly, but I'd say probably about 2 years old, maybe slightly older. Interesting that it's still suckling. But maybe the mother is just in such great condition that there is food, which is maybe why this youngster is so big. Excuse me, there's a younger one in the back. And I really like her. She's curious about us, but interested in what we are, having a look now and again, but also nice and relaxed. They're going about their business, eating, moving along, and we're just talking about what great condition she's in, as well as this young calf of hers, this young bull. Excuse me. Well, let me correct that. I said earlier she'd done about 160 degree, almost a half circle, but she's now done more than that. She's done about 200 degrees now, more than. It's not coincidence. I mean, that's also her just coming to have a look, and that sort of confirms me against probably we saw 5-6 days ago, because she's not seen this. This vehicle is slightly different from the normal game drive vehicles, and with things like lion and leopard, I don't really notice so much in the behavioural change, except for Kunyuma. Actually, that leopard was quite interesting. But with elephant, often with these vehicles, they react a bit differently. I'm going to move shortly, but she's just behind us now, and we've built up this nice trust relationship now, so I don't want to disturb her just yet. But with elephants, I think they see the vehicle as different. They look at it, they see it looks different from the normal game drive vehicles. Also, we've got all the broadcasting things that that sort of brings you here. Makes a little bit of a different noise, and elephants have got amazing hearing. We can hear roughly a third of what they can hear. 2/3 of the sounds is too low frequency. We can't even hear it with human ears or with human hearing. And so they also I'm sure they perceive and sense this vehicle differently from some of the sort of things like lion, for instance, or antelope, or zebra, or wildebeest, or giraffe. All those things. Yes, well, we've got a question. It's good to have questions. Hello, Sharon. I wish I could actually show you this. We can try if you want, Brian, but she's right behind us. There's between Brian and elephant, there's a big bush, so we can't see anything at the moment. She's 5-6 meters that way, 5-6 yards. We're going to move just now and try and show you again. But Sharon's just asking how many muscles in an elephant's trunk. And we had this question this morning actually as well. And it's a bit of a long answer because firstly is how many, what constitutes a muscle. And basically what they talk about are these columns of muscles. So the trunk is a big muscle. It's got 2 nostrils or the nasal passages running down it. And it's surrounded by all these different muscles that enables it to be extremely dexterous. They can turn it and twist it and fold it and roll it and anything. They can take it in any direction they want. If you think of like a universal joint, if you had to line them up into a long line, that's almost what elephants' trunks are about. I've read many articles and things over the years about it, 60 to 90,000 muscle columns, if you think of it like that. Again, I used this example this morning. You could say, well, this is a bicep muscle, and then I met Arnold Schwarzenegger years back. He's got a bicep muscle. Now, are they both one, or does he maybe have a few more than me because they're much bigger? Hey, she's giving us a little head shake behind the vehicle. We'll show you very shortly. But yeah, 60 to 90,000 muscles, and more importantly is what they can do with it. Is it extremely dexterous? They can pick up very heavy things, hundreds of kilograms quite easily, and at the same time they can pick up the tiniest little, you could drop okay, I'm just turning, you could drop a raisin on the ground and they would be able to pick it up with those tips at the tip of the trunk. Let me show you there. She's giving us a little bit of a look. Hello, girl. Just looking at you. Here we go. In terms of the smaller things about the trunk, the African elephant compared to the Indian elephant, African elephant has got 2 little fingers at the tip, so like sort of prehensile fingers if you want, at the tip of the nose or tip of the trunk. Whereas the Indian elephant has just got the one sort of prehensile top finger, and the bottom is a more flatter part of the trunk. Not a big difference, but it does mean that these guys are slightly more dexterous when it comes to picking up small things. Just turn a little bit again. I want to see where we can go next. This female really is keeping an eye on us. I quite like that. She's going to turn a bit. She's going to probably give us a little head shake, play around with us. Keep in mind that we've taken our time sort of coming into this group, so they know about us by now. Another question. Great. Keep them coming. He's giving us a little head shake there. Quite interesting behavior this, because she's not threatened by us or bothered by us. The rest of the herd have moved on. We saw earlier she was right next to us. Her calf was separate, doing its own thing. So this is more an interactive type of thing. She's not worried. If she was worried, we would have picked this up in the earlier behavior. If she was trying to chase us away or something like that. So it's almost like she's just playing with us a little bit, saying, you know, what are you doing? And then giving us a little head shake like that. Could hear some nice trumpeting in the back there as well. Maybe some other elephants playing with each other as well. Oh, great trumpeting there. I'm going to move on to the rest of the herd. I'd love to get a look at the sort of the bigger group. I'm going to let her move on. I've got to go back around to try and go around this thicket. I think we can do so now. Actually, we had a question from Dawn. Well, sorry, I got it, and then I was watching this female's behavior, and I've missed part of the question. Just repeat it for me, please. Dawn, yes. Yes and no. Dawn's asking if bull elephant travel with the herd. You often get bull elephants traveling with the herd, but you don't get bull elephants that stay with the herd. In other words, the elephant unit as such, the permanent herd structure, the permanent unit is led by the matriarch, a female. I don't think this female is a matriarch just from a size and age, but she certainly would be maybe the second in charge, which is why she's giving us a little bit of this attitude. There we go. Just get you a good view here. Dawn, so the bulls that you do see with the herd, and I saw a big bull earlier, I'd love to see him. And I'm starting to wonder if there's not maybe something going on here. I'll tell you why. Is because driving in before we found the elephant, I could smell something that smelled like an elephant. More specific, like that must smell that you get from bulls when they are in must. Now, if we see the bull and he is, I'll explain more about it. But basically, that's when bull elephant go into this sort of, much heightened testosterone levels, about 6 times normal. And they also become preferred mating partners for females, and they also become dominant over bulls that aren't in must. And if that guy is, and from his size he certainly could be, there might be a female in this group that's an estrus. And that can also create a lot of excitement and a lot of sort of activity, if you want, within the herd. Yeah, she wants to play. What we're going to do now, well, let's see what she does first. I'm going to give her some confidence to come towards us, perhaps. No. This is a great game to play with young elephant bulls. Not so much with the breeding herds, but with young bulls when they're sort of teenagers, when they're 15, 17 years old. They often play this sort of almost like a game of tag. Here's the youngster. It's quite warm still. I mean, it's a bit muggy even. It's not super hot. I mean, for the low veld, this is a mild day, but we probably still sitting in about 30 odd degrees Celsius in the sort of high 80s, low 90s. Fahrenheit. It's quite muggy. There's not much of a breeze. I think we're going to have to knock out the blood, and more specifically the blood before it goes to the brain. Let me just go a little bit back so we can see him. So the blood flows through the ears, and they can cool the blood up to 4 degrees Celsius, which is about, give or take, 6.5 or so degrees Fahrenheit. So before and after the ear, the blood can cool down by that much. And that's obviously very important, especially for the brain. And the reason for this is that, well, the reason why it's important for the brain, we all know the brain's a very important part of operating, being alive and doing your things. But the reason they need to be able to cool themselves is that their body mass is much greater than, sorry guys, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat, is much greater than any other land mammal, because the big to go with it. So she's just being a little bit touchy, a little bit interactive, maybe is a nice formal word. Well, we're just trying to catch up here with this herd. We've pretty much been spending time with this female. They're just moving along now. I just want to see if we can... There we go. That should work. And I'd love to see a little bit more of the rest of the group. It seems we're getting closer to that group now. And you can see them all. It's quite thick here, as I've mentioned a few times, and as you'll notice with the driving. We've been sort of sitting off on the edge of the group with this one female that's been playing with us a little bit. There's elephants everywhere, and I just want to get... Always, ideally, I like to be in front of a herd. If you're in front of a herd, you can sit somewhere and wait for them to move towards you. Make our way around. Noisy stuff to go through. Excuse me guys, I had to... Not sure what I got in my throat. It's back from earlier. Here's the Ellies, we're almost around the side of them. I'm going to try and go around a bit. Opening up slightly as well, that's also good. Maybe I spoke a bit early. Thick here again. Let's see, I like this herd. I like big herds as well. They are moving around towards Philemon Cutline, so it would be great if we could catch them a little bit more in the open later on. You can see it's quite thick. You know what, let's think. It's always good to think when you're doing this. We are there. I was thinking maybe we're going to try and find our way into more open ground, and then know which way they're heading, and rather than try and go around them, they're moving about the same pace that we can move. I'll try and get us... Oh, there's the road. Yes, I thought we can't be too far. Perfect. So let's get there and we'll go around and we'll go sit in front of them and wait for them to move towards us. I'd love to see how many how many individuals in this group. Just because normally we see breeding herds, they're quite small groups, 5, 6, up to 15, 20 animals. But when you get it like this, which it might be 2 or 3 herds together, it's just great. It's nice to see big numbers of animals, especially my favorite animal, and certainly one of my favorites, definitely the biggest land mammal in the world. So let's go see. Hey, I can see a road. Das ist gut, ja. there's the first one almost in the open. So we like this. Oh, this could be great. Love little Ellies, and this one is giving us a bit of attitude from in the bushes there. Let's just take a seat here and see what happens. There we go, little mock charge, yay! It's like, I'm so big, I want to intimidate you. Oh, look at that little hop. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And the rest of them are coming out as well. This is going to be perfect. Quite a few young ones in the group. There's a few more coming on the left hand side. I'm still waiting to see that big bull that I sort of glimpsed earlier. There's the little one just behind the bushes. We should see more of it just now. I mean, these elephants eat quite a lot during the day. I mean, they eat about 5% of their body weight. That's a sort of average. Now for a female like this one. What's going on in this group? It's very interesting. There's definitely something going on in the group. As I said, maybe a female in estrus, maybe a female that's getting ready to give birth. I've seen that once only. In Pilansberg, you get this great excitement within the group. I didn't actually see the birth. I saw the behavior around it, and we saw the elephants go into the bush and huddle together, and we could see them going on. And then the baby came out of that later, so I didn't actually see it, but all the behavior around it was absolutely fascinating. The group really came together, and they sort of protected the mother and the calf sort of amongst themselves. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but there is something here that's not sort of normal, just we walking around on a Sunday afternoon eating a bit of grass. There is that as well, but there's definitely something else going on. Brilliant. There's more elephants in the back there that you can see. Quite a few. Here's another one giving us a head shake. Lots of activity from them. They just change the direction a bit. Towards the... What's he doing? He wants to. Go a little bit ahead and turn around so that we can face down towards them. A whole many of them in the background as well. Looks like they're all going to come out here. So let's get the perfect seat. See what happens with them. Like they're not going to come out into this open area. I thought they might come into it, but they might stick to this little bit thicker stuff. So we just need to find a good place that we can wait for them. Find a bit of an open area maybe. This is not too bad. This is where we just came out from. Maybe this could work. Let's find a place to sit and wait. Up front here. I'm just going to sit here a little bit. Give them opportunity to come out more towards us again, because you've got that thicket, but there's a bit of a clearing here around us. starting to come out a little bit. Slightly back. Let's go in the left. This is a good spot. Let's see what they do. Ah, beautiful. That should be lovely. Coming out on the left, lots of them in front of us. Difficult thing is always decide where to look. Perfect. Everyone just got back in the vehicle in time because this herd is coming out. We found a little place here. Here's one right in front of us. Difficult to look. Sorry. Difficult to know where to look. What we were saying only minutes ago. Because they're coming out now around us. And young ones, big ones. There's another youngster in the background. Another young one coming through the front. This one is giving us a little bit of a curious glance. You see the trunk up like that as well. Now let's turn a little bit. Just a little bit. Across the road there as well. 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12. Now I think there's more to come. As I said earlier, I've got a feeling that there might actually be 2 herds here. Moving together, obviously they know each other. Elephants often do that. Hey, mister. That's just the youngster playing with us. You can see the rest of the herd not fazed by it. And they're also getting more and more used to us now, and that's great because I'm hoping to get... I always like a bit of interaction, and when they come and look at us and play a little bit, and sometimes that can take a while. It can take maybe 1 or 2 drives, 1 or 2 hours at least to stay with them. But this youngster is interested. Hey, mister. Wow, cool. Let's go look at these guys. Let's go look at these guys. There's an elephant behind us. One of my favorite things in the world to do is spend time with the Ellies and the breeding herds, bulls, but especially the breeding herds because there's so much going on with all the youngsters and the grown-ups and the adults and the grandmothers and the grandkids and the bulls and the cows and everything. I just really enjoy them. This is quite a big female in the road in front of us. Might even be the matriarch or a matriarch of the 2, one of the 2 herds. Nice big female, great condition. Got a notch very similar to Madiba, that bull elephant we've been watching. You see it just in the bottom of her ear, that little notch there. Very, very similar shape to him. Oh, she's going to have a scratch maybe. I was saying earlier when they've had a mud bath, which clearly she has. You can see her just rubbing against the tree there. Little scratch. This is her calf just following in the back, catching up to mum. No, I haven't yet seen that big bull. There was definitely a big bull with him earlier. Most likely still trailing behind, or maybe that was what a little bit of sort of funny behavior was about. Maybe it was a bull that only joined the group, in the last hour or 2. There was a bit of interaction there. Let's stick with these guys. They're going into still relatively rough terrain, but it's getting more open in front there. So let's go around a little bit and let's answer a question or 2 while we do so. Look at that little one. Brilliant. That's only a few months old. Young bull. 3, 4 months, maybe 5 months at the most. I think probably closer to 4. And Alan, just to finish your question, we just had a quick technical thing there, but all is good again. And yes, you have only one matriarch per core group, but often if you see herds, if you see a herd of 50, 60, 100, 200 elephants, that will be made up out of different females or different herds that are traveling together. In other words, you might have, oh, this is a nice big ellie. You might have 15, 20 in a herd, like we have here, and another 15 or 20 in a herd, and they work together. So you've got a matriarch for each group. Oh, it's all right, guys. I'm just going to stop you and have a look at it. Nice look. Nice big female on the left. Not the same one that I said earlier might be the matriarch. It looks like a different cow. Beautiful sound. I love that trumpet. Fantastic. Look at this big female on the left. That might also be a matriarch. As I was saying just now, Alan, with your question, this group is big enough that I got a pretty good feeling that it's 2 herds. And quite often, I mean, these matriarchs might be related. In other words, the matriarch for the one herd, it might have been a split from that same herd, just the herd got a bit big, and then one of the senior cows, often maybe one of her daughters, would have moved on and separated the 2 herds, but they would often spend time together. So in a way, you could say it's okay, it's okay. Because they're all spread out here at the moment, and I think that's why it's giving us a little bit of like, what you're doing. I'm just trying to think what to. Let's leave this little group a bit. This feels to me like the one group. We've got a slight gathering at the moment up that way from the other groups. It seems like 2 different groups. This being the one unit, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 or so animals, 9 or 10. And then on this side, you see just now as we go closer into them, they're starting to gather together on the left. This is about 15, 20 individuals. So about 30 plus ellies. Most of this trumpeting, guys, just to know, are the teenagers. It's not the adults. If the adults were upset, they would let us know. It's mostly the youngsters just sort of making a bit of noise. It's a bit cooler now. It's late afternoon. It's a bit like saying, hey, guys, how's it going? This female just give us a little head shake. No, don't worry. I'm just going to stop here. I just want to get to the open. See lots of young ones in the back there as well. Just such a beautiful time of year. We've had a bit of rain over the last few weeks. And people always think Africa is going to be this brown sort of brown and beige place, but in rain season it can be as green as anywhere in the world here. Oh, look at these 2 little ones playing, but I just want to see if we can get a great view of it. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. I mean, this herd's been moving quite a bit, not fast, but consistently. And sometimes they will just feed and sort of stop a little bit to give the youngsters a bit of chance to rest and also to play. And I'm really hoping we can see some of that. We've seen a little bit of it earlier. But they're just all the time getting more and more used to us. And this is an important part. As I said earlier, with lions and leopard and so on, it's a bit different. The behavior is slightly more primal in many ways. But with ellies, you need to work your way in. Look at these two. Just there, those two. Right next to them, and they're still playing with each other. That's a great sign. I mean, that's how we're slowly working our way into this herd. We've got the babies coming up on the left, into this herd. We've got the babies coming up on the left. Brilliant, this is where we want to be. And it don't just happen instantly, it happens over a bit of time, over a bit of communication with each other. Hey, how's it going? Yes, you're a big elephant. Right here with us. Oh, look at that one, doing yoga. On the left there, Brian. Okay, just too late. It was just doing this funny twist with his back leg. I mean, an adult wouldn't have been able to do that. They would be too heavy. These are the two that are playing along. They're sort of, again, 10 to 14, 10, 11 years old, the one on the left. Maybe 2 years older for the one on the right. Someone wants to play with us as well. So we're gonna, just to give you an idea, we were just in this really cool spot. They were moving right around us. Two of the youngsters were playing next to us. Still a couple of young ones there playing along as well. We were just saying that this is really great because it takes a little while with elephants, especially herds like this. Sort of, we had them right around us. Yeah, a bunch of youngsters. The closest adult was about 30, 40 yards away. The closest young one was about 2 yards away at one stage. And this is what we want. It takes a little while just to let them realize, all right, these guys aren't here to hassle us. And that's when you start getting the really great behavior. You start seeing, look at that, two of them playing, but look at the little one on the left, just wanting to play as well. Just say, come on guys, I want to play along too. And then they can sometimes start interacting with you as well, and that really can be a lot of fun. Awesome. What a cool place to live in. We're just going to move a little bit to keep up with this group. Jeremy, who's living in Big Bear, I like the name, Big Bear, California. It's a cool place. And Jeremy is 9. Jeremy, nice to have him in the vehicle. You're only a year older than HT's son, Jack. He's 8. And you would like to know if lions could hunt elephant, and if they did try, or if they did do it, would the elephant try and protect the youngster? Yes to both. It can happen that lion will hunt elephants. It's not really something that happens here. You get certain areas, parts of Chobe in Botswana and Zimbabwe, that direction. There's a few places where it does happen because there's a lot of elephants and some lions have learnt it. Obviously not the big elephant, normally sort of more your medium size and sort of teenagers up to young adults. It's not an easy thing, by no means. Also because the others will often try and protect those youngsters. It's not a common behavior, but it is something that happens. It does happen in certain areas. Around here, not that I know of ever actually, in the Sabi Sands area. Yes, we're just moving along with you. Going into more sort of sticky stuff again, a bit sort of not the greatest terrain to follow them through. Not that it bothers them. They know by now what our plans are. We've been with them. I've lost track of time actually, probably 45 minutes or something. This is one of the young ones that's been very curious about us. Now, every time they come close to us, they trumpet a bit and shake their head. It's just a bit of bravado, really, to remind us that they're big. was mentioning earlier, I think it was during one of the breaks, that the adults are totally comfortable with us now. We haven't had an adult close to us even in the last 10 minutes or so. We've had the young ones around us moving around and doing their thing, but the adults are just doing their thing in the periphery there. They know that we're not here to bother, and they don't mind it if the young ones come and play with us a little bit. I've lost a bit of track of who's where now. I'd love to see that little one again. Brian, it's the little one that side. Oh, there's lots of elephants. Let's go look at one of them. Oh, these guys are slowly making their way towards the hyena den, I think. Still a bit of a distance to go, but that is roughly where they're heading. Some tricky terrain. I know NatGeo Wild was following leopards through here. A little bit of weaving to get through. This is mostly dead brush after the fire. It's also great. I mean, if this area hadn't burned, just from a purely sort of experience at the moment, this would all have been covered in leaves. I mean, we wouldn't see any of those elephants that we can see at the moment in the distance. Just because it is nice and open. And this will change quite rapidly over the next 2-3 weeks. Here's the other one again. One of those playful ones. A little bit something to eat. I think I started talking about it earlier and then something happened. I interrupted myself. But they eat roughly 5% of their body weight. So a big bull elephant, a really big bull, let's say 6-7 tons, 6,000-7,000 kilograms. That's about between 14 and 16,000 pounds. They can eat 5% of their body weight. So a big bull like that would eat about 300 kilograms a day. That's 650, 700 pounds. Sorry, I was just listening to the radio there at the same time. Having a nice play again. All in practice for one day when they're big and grown up and they need to fight. Looks like two young bulls, both of them. The females also do this kind of sort of, wrestling and playing. But the bulls need to do more of it. Down the line, they will need to do so to compete for females. And this is a very typical afternoon for a herd of elephants like this. Feeding being a big part of it. I mean, even this young calf we're looking at probably weighs 500-600 kilograms already. That's about the size of actually more. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I'm talking about you. He'd be, I'm just guessing, 800 kilos maybe, the size of a black rhino, or the size of a big buffalo. So he's already eating 40 kilograms, 50 kilograms of vegetation a day. That's 110, 120 pounds of grass and leaves. That's a lot of leaves and grass to eat, so you need a lot of time at it. So feeding a big part of it, and then also playing around and just messing around with each other, and working on your social bonds a little bit, and reminding who your friends are, and your buddies, and your aunts, and your uncles, and all that kind of. It's not really the uncles, more the aunts, Female breeding in society. So, yes. Let's do this quickly, let's see it. more play. Humidity I've ever experienced, the most heat I've ever experienced was in Hilton Head Island, actually, South Carolina. Whew, that place gets hot and humid. Let's go close. Well, I'm just wondering what HD is up to. Maybe you can come and join in these Ellies. They're slowly moving down towards Rebecca's Road, Philemon's Cutline Junction area. Lots of Ellies here. Hey, little dude. I have to love the little ones. This is very interesting what he's doing. Have a close look at what this young elephant is doing. Tell you more about this now, but this is something called, and I haven't remembered this term for ages. I think it's called cachyophagia, if you pronounce it correctly, and it's animals eating dung from. Guys, I think those of you that just joined us, you caught the last few seconds of it. This young calf was just busy eating some dung from the female, or its mother most likely, that it's following. And that's something that we were just talking about it, that you get with most of your hindgut fermenters. Animals like elephant, zebra. Whoa, we're so afraid of you. Sorry, dude. That's exactly what he's doing. You see, he got close to mum first, and then when he was close to mum, the courage was more, and he gave us a little mock charge, practicing for one day when he's big. And your hindgut fermenters, though, I was just talking about so zebra, hippo, rhino, elephant, those are some examples around here. They need that bacteria in their stomach to break the food down. They've got a different digestive system altogether from your ruminants, things like giraffe, kudu, impala, your antelopes. And to digest their food, they need the bacteria, and they can only get that from getting it from the other animals. In other words, eating the other animals' dung. And that's something you see quite often with these guys. You'll notice the same thing for those of you that have animals at home. You will notice it with horses as well. They also are hindgut fermenters. A strong smell of elephant dung. It's not a bad smell, actually. Elephant dung is quite a... It smells like dung. In fact, it smells a little bit like horse dung. I mean, for those of you that have worked with horse manure, again, similar digestive tract, except elephants eat a little bit more varied food. Guys, look at this. Not always you see them up in the trees. There's a couple of millipedes right here next to us. I don't know what they're doing up here. Guys, what are you up to up here? Normally they walk around on the ground. There we go. There's one, there's another one. The millipedes, even though the name suggests they've got 1,000 legs, the Afrikaans name, we actually call them a duisendpoot, which means literally translated 1,000 legs. And they normally have between 100 and 300 legs, depending on the species, or pairs of legs. Let's try and turn it a little bit, just so you can see those legs a little bit. There you go. Lots of little legs, and when they start walking, when you see them on the ground, which is the more common place to see them, those legs move almost like waves, like a Mexican wave around a stadium, sort of in these wave patterns. Millipedes. I love their Shangaan and Zulu name. They call it Shongololo. Shongololo. Makes it seem so much more fun when you talk about a Shongololo rather than a millipede. Okay, we got a drainage line coming up, but it shouldn't be a problem. We're in the jigger. Best vehicle in the world to do this in, by the way. Thank you guys for prepping them for us so nicely. Best vehicle in the world. Thank you guys for prepping them for us so nicely. I remember those years, right in this dip up ahead that we're going to cross just now. Just to be spending part of your afternoon with a herd of elephants. And them accepting us as well. But now there's no concern anymore. They've decided what we're about. To the point that even these little guys now have courage enough to come and interact a little bit, shake their heads and come have a look, you know. Okay, we're just going to have to find them right now because Mum has moved on. He's going to catch up. Wait for me, Mum. Okay, well, let's see. I think this is doable. Let's make our way through this. Just a few, not even inches to play with, but we should be fine. Ryan, you're right there. Cool. Opening. Oh, beautiful little drainage line that we're sitting in now. And exactly where I saw that leopard years ago. First time I've been here again since then. Always makes me smile when I view elephants from this angle. The small trunk. You have a great nursery rhyme in Afrikaans where we say basically that elephants are the funniest animals in the world. Because where have you ever heard of an animal that has a tail in the front and a tail in the back? Or the other way around. A tail in the back and a tail in the front. Whenever I look at them like this, it makes me think of that nursery rhyme. Guys, I just want to show you something, just a little quick few seconds down memory lane. Look at your deer to the left. This is where I saw that leopard, and it was literally walking down the drainage line. It was more sort of later summer, there was water running here, but it was quite thick. Just imagine that setting. Beautiful tree trunk. That tree trunk was not as old by then, but it was still pushed over a dead tree by then, and just a great place to remember or think back to seeing a leopard. Let's get up to the top here. These are sort of moving along now. This side, I think. Let's sit right here. It's not often you get to skyline elephants in the low veld, because we've always got bush around us, but that's nice. We're sitting lower than them at the moment, or sort of eye level with them. Well, you know what I mean. Our eye level with their feet, kind of level. Would that be eye level or foot level? Depending on where you're looking from, I guess. Feels like I'm sitting in Lazy Boy. We're driving up this bank. We're just like chilling in the landy. Oh, this is the female that we started off with, the one on the left here. She's the one that, in the beginning of the drive, that sort of walked around us quite a few times. She gave us a nice few trumpets as well. Ah, elephants. We do like elephants. Not very far from the hyena then. In fact, it's just, I don't know if we can see it from here. There we go. If you look right. I just saw HD driving there actually. He's going down there, so hopefully we'll have a bit of activity from the hyena there. I was just watching these ellies through the thick stuff, and I was just saying that we're not very far from the hyena then. I thought I saw the termite mound, although we're from a different angle than we'd normally get there. And then I just saw a glimpse of HD in his vehicle driving through the thick stuff. So let's try and find a better clearing here first. There's sort of lots of sticky environment now. Sticky as in, not like caramel, sticky as in trees and bushes. Let's just try and get ourselves around a little bit. We're sort of sitting off on the one side of the herd again. I just want to circle around and see if we can't get a look at the sort of other part of the herd we saw earlier. Ooh, nice breeze. When you start moving, it gets a little bit cooler because, as I said, it's 10-15 minutes. Just going to move around to one side in the thick stuff. See if we can't get a view up front and see where the rest of that herd are moving at the moment. Oh, brilliant! Great news, guys. You're going to see why. I'm guessing you can guess already, but HC's got something to show you. Enjoy it, and maybe those elephants join you there as well. See you now.
Well folks, hi. I've been driving around for the last hour and a half, nearly 2 hours, looking for leopard. We've definitely seen some tracks, we've followed some tracks, we've got other people looking and eluding us at the moment, but that's the name of the game, you know, it's the anticipation of looking. You've really got to constantly look around, and I've just driven past the road here to come down to the hyena den, and I thought I'd just pop in and say farewell to my little friend here. And sure enough, there you go. Ndapandula, the little hyena cub, is sitting at the front of the den there and waiting for his mum to come back from potentially hunt, or she may be in the den, I'm not really sure. But he's quite a precocious little guy. He's definitely grown hugely since we first met him back in early November. And not sure if it's a male or a female, so I might switch between names there, that's for sure. But the most important thing is we're in the presence of a beautiful hyena cub, and he is getting quite comfortable with us. He comes right up to the vehicle sometimes, and it's quite a beautiful thing to watch. Very alert. Hello, my friend. He's a really, really cool little chap and is coming up to say hello. was really interesting behaviour the other night when I was sitting here a few nights back. He's only a youngster, and his mum is the alpha female, and there was a couple of other adults that came around, and hello my friend. He's coming up really close now. Hey buddy. Getting so close we're not even able to film it, VM, from where you are. And those other adults, because his mum is alpha female, this individual can throw their weight around a little bit more than others potentially could. So he was chasing off other adults, and his mum was supporting. So if it is a male, I think we mentioned it last night, if it is a male, he'll be higher ranked than the females, and that will be the only time that males are higher ranked than the females, is if they're the offspring of the alpha female. So it's quite a... he's really getting some scent in the air. It could be from our tyres that we've driven through some dung of something, or smell, and he's just quite interested. Coming right round the side. I'm just going to try and get my little camera here just to take a photograph and show you how close he is, but he might turn around and go back to his den. It's great to be in the presence of these guys, and I think, you know, what I want to really finish on tonight is debunking this sort of reputation that hyena have as these sort of scavengers that skulk around in the shadows of social structure. And he's just waiting for his mum to get back. So I can actually see Pete over there. That's who I can see, and Pete's been with those magnificent elephants for quite a while, which is such a nice thing to spend that time with elephants on. That's fantastic. How great is that? That is the brilliance of having two vehicles, folks. You know, Pete, that beautiful elephant encounter with you, and I can be off looking for about being with being heard. The adult, the matriarch, tolerating our presence and just being comfortable with that. And we've been really working on a couple of these herds and making sure that they are comfortable with us and our proximity to them. But we came in on the tail of all the hard work that's been done by the wonderful guides and management of Sabi Sands, who adhere to this wonderful sort of ethical game viewing practice, and that is just to let the animals dictate what the moves are. And I think that's really important to take into consideration. They may have come through from Kruger National Park as well, which has amazing ethics as well, and they really do make sure that any people that go into Kruger National Park are well aware of how to be around elephants as well. Very, very important. So hence the wonderful experience that you've just had with those elephants and Pete and Brian. But we're sitting with this beautiful little hyena cub at the moment, who I look forward to following with Mark and Scott as they do their drives over the next month and a half to the end of January. Really looking forward to watching this little cub grow. He's been a real character, has come up to the vehicle several times, and even sniffed the vehicle really closely one day. We must have driven through something quite interesting. But what a wonderful little creature, and in perfect condition as well. It's a 4-month gestation period for the hyena. It's a reasonably long gestation period for a carnivore, and they normally have, I think we mentioned it last night, 1 to 4 pups, but normally about 2 on average. So we're just going to sit with this little beauty for a little bit longer, I think, and just enjoy the company of this beautiful hyena cub, and maybe Mum will come back. I'm just going to have to take a couple of photographs here, because and that hyena came sort of within touching distance of me as I was sitting there in front of that campfire. That was quite an incredible experience. So they're quite confident, but a lot of the times when you do see them, they're on the move, they're on a mission. And I think that really intense sort of moment that you have with an animal in a you'll never forget is just something that sticks with you forever. We're going to have another campfire chat tonight, actually, folks, online. If you want to stick around and watching online, you can stick by the same time. We finish at 7 o'clock as normal, and then we carry on for another hour on WildSafari Live, and that we can just listen to Pete and I answer some questions, have a bit of a chat, have a bit of a laugh, have a bit of a recap, and thank everyone for this incredible project. He just got a little fright there. You saw how he just moved up a can through a really highly developed sense of smell, and will not stray too far from the safety of that den. If a predator was to come, it could really back into there or run down into there really very, very quickly, and just get into a safe place right at the bottom. It's going to be an excavated aardvark or warthog den. The aardvark, a fantastic animal that we don't see very often. Strictly pretty much nocturnal. You might see them on the cusp of twilight and dusk, but they normally burrow into one of these termite mounds, and then you'll find that some other animals will take over after the aardvarks have left, and then it's warthog or hyena, sometimes even wild dog. We've even seen leopard. Not here, but I've seen leopard in him, take him out on hunts, and or scavenging, whatever she's doing, and then she'll wean him after about a year. It takes quite a long period of time to wean, and there's a lot of tantrums that occur from these little guys, but eventually they'll be weaned off their mums after a year. So I can hear, and Control have just told me as well, I can hear elephants walking towards us at the moment, or maybe feeding or browsing towards us at the moment. I'm pretty sure it's down behind where we are at this den. Can't see anything, VM, can you?
Yet.
The interesting thing also that the mothers will do, these offspring of the alpha female, the top female in the clan, have some sort of great but they are super creatures and just so alert. He is pretty fantastic, isn't he? A real apologies to you folks just for that little technical glitch we had there. I'm not sure what happened, but just huge apologies from us. You know, everyone here strives to get signal live to you from the African bush, which is exactly what we're doing right now, and I think that's really important that we always remind everyone, not that you need reminding, I promise you, because everyone's support is incredible, but sometimes you'll get that little tiny gremlin or glitch in the system. I'm quite low down at the moment as well in the not the food chain, but in the topography. I'm down in a little what we call a drainage line, which is where water would run down into a river. So I'm quite low down, but this is a lovely time just to be in the presence of this little cub. And we've had some, they might be pushed out of there, not likely pushed out of there, but they do move dens for many reasons. And then that alpha female who's out right now, she came down here and decided to den down here. You can hear that beautiful bird calling in the background there. It's a Cape turtle dove. A common resident, but I tell you what, it is one of those sounds that just reminds you of Africa. He's really looking out there to see if his mum's coming back. He can definitely see something or hear something. He's looking around. I can hear something down there. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, I can see. I'm just seeing a swinging trunk. Look at that coming up behind. Right. Isn't that fantastic? Watch this little cub's behaviour here. He's going to be like, whoa, hang on. Mum is not around here. That is a beautiful sight, hey? Elephant in the background coming up behind. And I think this is Peter's breeding herd that he's just been with. How strange is that? We've been here before when there was a big bull, and I think we've named him Madiba. Pete and I have both had different encounters with that bull. There's a lovely calf with that elephant as well. That's a beautiful shot. That makes me very happy. Elephants up in the background walking across as well. And a lovely young calf with this female just a little bit closer as well. But this little Ina cub, Ndopandula, this little one we've named, is under no pressure. It's just laid down. Ah, that's lovely. Yes, in the presence of elephants. I know you've just had it for an hour and a half, but it is pretty incredible when they're dictating the moves, exactly what we were talking about before. And I think I've had some of the most elephant experiences here over the last 6-7 weeks. And again, due to I really was happy to hear that those elephants were coming through there then. because I did want a bit of an elephant fix. Just nice to have a look at this little cub. Look at him. Just widen that shot a little bit, please, VM, just to show what he's doing there. Staying nice and close to the den site. Maybe he's going to come over. You can hear some sounds coming around the other side. We might have another elephant approaching from the other side. That's quite a nice image, isn't it? You can just go a little bit wider on that, VM, just to show everyone what he's looking at there. He's got elephant, he's got a breeding herd of elephant. It's the breeding herd that you were just with Pete, and now they've come to visit us, which is pretty lovely. And this little hyena cub is a little overwhelmed, but he's absolutely fine. So you can see off in the distance now the whole herd is coming our way, walking through here. It's the same herd that Peter was just with, and I am telling you now, it's complete coincidence that this happened. I had no idea where Peter was actually. I knew that he was, but I didn't know these elephants were going to walk up to the hyena den. And at the bottom right of your screen you can see the hyena cub that we're sitting with, and the elephants have just walked onto us. I'd love to try and know if it's my favourite breeding herd. I'm just looking for the matriarch. There's a female that's got a broken tusk, a broken left tusk, and quite a substantial tear in her left ear as well. And she's the most loveliest animal. And I've had some great encounters with her over the last 7 weeks. She's been fantastic, and if it's her, I just can't see through the vegetation, but we might try and verify that by looking through the binoculars in a minute. More importantly, it doesn't matter what elephant herd it is, it's just lovely to see these two very, very different creatures in the same shot. And this little hyena cub, completely comfortable, sitting very close to the safety of his den, waiting for his mum, whilst this whole breeding herd just passes right by. He's just a little bit, just a teenager, and a little hyena's come back out. It's a fantastic scenario, little scene, isn't it? A young hyena cub seeing this massive breeding herd of elephant come past his den. And he's just at the age now where he's confident enough to sort of know that he can scoot down into there, but he's also quite inquisitive as well. What a journey the last 7 weeks has been for me. On a personal note, I can't tell you how incredible it's been. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. There is nothing like live broadcasting from the bush. There is nothing like it. Okay folks, I think we're going to just cross over to Pete. There's lots of talk about leopard at the moment. We've got Scott and Mark out there looking as well, plus we've been listening to the radio. There was talk of it as I was looking, and now I think they're even closer. Let's cross to Pete, we'll see you just now.
Welcome back this side, and what a brilliant afternoon with those elephants and hyena meeting up. I know HG really likes those hyenas as well, and sure you enjoy that. We are this afternoon or this morning earlier, I mentioned to you somewhere along the drive, Hayden and myself were coming back from one of the other lodges. Long story, we were on our way back to camp and it was raining too much, and we sort of hid from the rain there for a while, had a bit of coffee with the people there, and then on our way back we found very fresh leopard track. We followed it for quite a bit. I'm not going to go all the way to Sandy Patch now because, well, partly because the signal will break up, then you won't see, but they were on top of our tracks, so we could put the tracks down, and this is the time when those leopards start moving now. Now we've been looking for leopard now for 5 days or so, 6 days, and they can be tricky to find because they are leopard. Also because of the, we only have a certain area that we can look in them or in for them. Is, in my opinion, 95% certainly the road that the leopard will come out of. If this guy starts moving again, he's going to have to get onto this road. At the very least, he'll have to cross it. At best, he should take it for a little while. And if it is a leopard that I think it might be, he'll take this road all the way to the boundary and use that boundary as his sort of easterly movement. So we just have to look around very carefully. Maybe we can find him. It's as simple as that. Tracking an animal like this, obviously there's the physical tracks you look for. You look for the pock marks on the road. That's the first trick. That's what we saw earlier today when we were driving. But you have to really understand what the animal is doing as well. And that leopard was marking. It had been raining. So after the rain, a lot of the scent has been washed away, and he'll need to cover that ground again and remark again. Now, either he's moved on during the day, which is not impossible, but I'm pretty certain we would have seen the tracks then. Alternatively, he's been resting up, and now is the time that he starts to get moving. It could be either of two leopards. It could be Tingana or Mvula, most likely, either of the two, because it's right on that sort of cusp, or that grey area that falls between or on the bound. It was Tingana. Check this road up and down, pretty much. That's pretty much the next 10 minutes at least. I'm going to be just checking the same piece here, because unless things have dramatically gone differently than what we could tell from the tracks and what I can surmise from everything I know about doing this, one of two things: either the leopard is still in this block, I found no tracks coming out, and this is a good road for tracking, it's quite sandy, so either he's well, three things maybe. Either he's moved totally, he crossed the road somewhere during the day that we just didn't, we missed the track, and he's miles away from you. Well, not miles, but he's far away. So in that case, you're not going to find him anyway. The two remaining alternatives, which are both, I would say sort of, make it 45% each, is that he's still in this block, and either still sleeping, which is possible, or alternatively, he's busy moving now. The only way we're going to get him doing that. So the best way to do it is just to check this up and down. See if we find him. A little bit of luck would help as well. But in the meantime, we can answer a question. What questions they will? That's a cool question, something to talk about while we hopefully going to find a leopard in a second. Guys, you must look out very carefully. This is the opportunity where you might be the first one to spot it, because I'll be talking a bit and Brian's looking around. We're checking everything around us, so anyone can spot this cat at any stage. Might be most likely, if we're lucky, we'll spot it in the road. That's where we're going to find it if the cards fall right tonight. So keep a very careful eye out for this leopard. Professor biology, and he did his PhD on lion communication, and I learned a lot of great things from him. Apart from having a lovely time, he's a very cool guy, and John used to say a lot of funny things, smart things. But one of the things I learned from him, sort of tying into the zebra thing, is that lions have got certain traits per population, and he was studying specifically vocalization, so the sounds they make. And in the recordings and in studying the breakdown of the sounds, you could then learn that lions in Kruger National Park, for instance, compared to lions from Etosha, compared to lions from Serengeti, sound a little bit different from each other. A little bit like English. Sean, you guys speak English, I speak English, although Rafi would disagree. Rafi, he was there. Populations, they learn a little bit different accents from each other over time. So it's quite interesting if you think of it. Maybe another reminder that we're not all that different from each other in some ways. Any second now. Any second. A lot of things happen or have to happen at the same time here. And I keep saying that luck does play a role in it, and there is always a bit of luck in finding wildlife. And I really believe we can find this leopard with a little bit of luck. my nose up there. I'll be back in a second. A little bit of luck to find it. Guys, if any of you have questions, you're welcome to ask me anything. Maybe about tracking, or maybe about, well, anything really. I don't mind talking. But at the moment I've got everything focused on finding this cat. So if you pop an idea into my mind, I'll talk about it gladly. But of my own accord, I'm just thinking one thing at the moment. Thought about all the possibilities. I've thought about all the tracking we've done earlier, all the information I have, put it all together. It really comes down to us just finding this guy when he gets mobile. When he gets moving, he's going to be on this road. Can't go too far. I can go a little bit this way, but signal can get tricky, so as soon as I start crackling, will let me know and I'll turn around. At one paw print to know which way he's going. Turn around here again. Start losing me just now signal wise. I think let's go back a little bit and check that road again. Keep checking it all the time we have. That's what we're going to do. To realize that leopards are shadows. I mean, they're ghosts if they want to be. That's why to see a leopard, it's one of the things that makes this area so. You can see them fairly often, and you do see them so beautifully. You'll never see a leopard. Never happens like that here. That's the one great thing. So I'll be saying this area. We go days. We have, but they're there. We know it's there. It's past, you have to contend with this kind of thick bush. And it's one of the most elusive and secretive animals in the world when they want to be. I mean, when they don't want to be, they don't care. They just walk in the open. Let's check this road again. Got a question that we can talk about while we do so. Hello, Cameron. Hello, Cameron. So nice to have you in the vehicle with us on the game drive and the safari. And Cameron, you know what? It's difficult to say when exactly I became interested in doing this. But I can tell you that I was about 5 years old, like you are now, when I became interested in wildlife. I think before that even, maybe when I was about 3, I can remember a few things that got me interested. But I was so small still. You know, 3-year-olds are quite small. You can't remember much. But when I was 5 was the year just before I went to school. I can remember then already. I liked wildlife. I remember I liked seeing big animals. I was very lucky to grow up in Africa, Cameron. I think when I was about 5 years old, that's when I really started looking at wildlife and loving wildlife and seeing them. Just like you are now, like you're doing right at this moment with us. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy it for the rest of your life. In fact, Cameron, I look forward to when you can go to Africa. I know you're going to love it. You must let me know one day if you go to Africa, because I know you're going to love it. It's such a beautiful place. All the wild animals, the elephants, the leopard maybe that we're going to find if we're lucky. It's so nice to have you on safari with us, Cameron. I hope you enjoy it just as much as everyone else. I know you do, in fact. Only on very, very rare occasions. Because it might not happen. And I know you guys understand that, because this is wild, this is live, this is happening as it happens. But if you could be here for that moment, for that second when it happens, you guys that have done this for a long time, and then get back on TV just now, just in an ad break, if we can